Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Thank you for joining me again for another live Q&A session here on my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Angela. I am a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator. And my channel is dedicated to those of you just getting started out in this wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through my channel, I share with you tips and tricks and techniques and things that I do every day in my own voiceover business. And then we get together in these weekly chats to talk about a topic or two. And I am a little distracted this morning. I'm expecting a very large package from Amazon or UPS. I'm watching for the truck. You know. And if you're not new here, then every day or every week, you know how, you know that we have a new poll. I speak words good, I promise. And that is, how many demos, not samples, but demos, do you currently have? I get the question about demos a lot. What kind of demos should I have? How many should I have? Can I make them myself? Do I need to spend $5,000 to take a course that includes a professionally made demo when I'm first starting out? I think the majority of you already know the answer to many of those questions, but I know that we have a lot of new watchers, and so I figured it was Caesar, I saw your message, your chat. Oh God. But if you've been watching for any point of time or length of time, then you know then you know my answer to these questions. Let's address the question I get most often about spending $5,000 for a course and then getting a professionally made demo as a brand new voice artist. I don't think that's the best way to go. Get the training. Yes, absolutely 100%. But if the sticking point or the buying point for you is because you get a professionally made demo, then I would probably not pick that particular course. And here's why I say this, because when we're just starting out, we're still trying to figure out our recording space and make sure that we sound the best that we can sound. We're still learning about our own voice and what it can do, and we're still learning our DAW and all the effects and how to use them together, harmoniously. We are still learning a lot. And we generally don't sound our best until about a year or so in, right? After we've learned all these things. So having a demo, especially when made by someone else, because they'll take your recording and master it and make it sound fantastic. And they'll usually coach you through the demo process, right? The recording, so you can get the sound or the quality, the performance that they're looking for, right? But you don't have any of that. You don't have any of those extra special things on your own. So when you're presenting this beautiful demo to a client, and then the client goes, yes, I love this. This is perfect. And then you are then expected to replicate that same sound, that same audio quality, that same performance. Can you do that on your own? Most often, no, not in the beginning. We're still learning how to do all that stuff. I I couldn't replicate that, until a good year in. So you're essentially shooting yourself in the foot. You're telling the client, yep, I can do this. I can give you this. But in reality, you're not quite there yet. I hope that's making sense. So what I have done and what many people have done is to create your own DIY demo. And these are not as intimidating as we make them, right? We tend to overthink everything in the beginning. So really quickly, I was just going to show you on my DAW. I use Adobe Audition. I always recommend Adobe Audition. I'm going to show you really quickly how easy it is to create a demo. And I'm not talking samples. The difference between demos and samples is a sample is just a little snippet of something that you have done, right? Usually in a specific genre, in a specific tone, right? If it's a commercial, if it's an audiobook, if it's IVR, right? It's something specific. It's a snippet of something specific. A demo is a compilation of samples, essentially, that can highlight a range within a certain genre or a specific, subtype of voiceover. For example, you'll have an audiobook demo that's perhaps a little bit of everything that you can do. And then you'll have another audiobook demo that perhaps is only all romance or only all self-help or children's books, so on and so forth. You could have a demo that's just IVR, phone greetings and things, a demo that's just commercial work. And then you can have a demo that's got a little bit of all of that in that to show what you can do in the totality, right? Everything that you're capable of doing, all of the range. So there's lots of different types of demos you can make, but just to show you how quickly and easily you can do this, let me show you on my Adobe Audition. So let me take this off really quick and then we'll get to the poll. I just wanted to get this part done. I hate making people wait till the end of the video to show you how to do anything. So let me just show you this really quick. All right, so here's my Adobe Audition. This is my DAW. This is what I use to record and edit and everything. And what I have done is I've taken 4 samples that I have already done. So if you're, for example, an audiobook narrator and you've done a few different books or auditions or whatever, and you really think they sound great, then pull those up on your DAW. Go through them and pre-select a section that you think highlights the best performance within that sample or that audition or that piece of work that you've done. And just to do that quickly, as you can see, I have this section selected here with the marker. How I did that is once I have a section picked, I'm just going to highlight it and hit M on my keyboard. And that creates this little marker here. So that's how you do that. Let me undo that so I don't confuse myself. But all you're going to do from here is create a brand new file. You can call it, demo audiobook. Make sure that your name is in it if this is one that you're sending to clients, because they're going to download it, show it to other people, compare it to others, and you want to make sure that your name is in this file. So let's just do that really quick. So I'm going to put Angela O, right? Demo audiobook. And then you could even date it, February of 2025. That way, at a glance how recent your demos are on your computer. So I'm going to go back to these pieces that I've already selected and highlight them, copy, and then go back to my blank demo and then just paste that in. And then you can get rid of the markers at this point. Then move your playhead to the very end. Go to the next sample that you've already chosen. Go back to your demo. Paste that in. Rinse and repeat, right? Make sure there's a little bit of a gap. Let's get rid of this marker really quick. There's a little bit of a gap between the samples so the listener can tell that this is one section or this is one piece. Right? Pause. Then there's the next piece. And then you have a finished demo once you have all of these pieces in there, right? So let's just do one more. Let's go to the next one. Copy that. Go back up to our demo file. paste that in, get rid of the marker. And then once you have about a minute, minute and a half or two, perhaps even, of a demo, then you're done. There you go. Demo. Super easy, right? Don't make things more complicated than they need to be. Don't let the not knowing how to do things hold you back from moving forward. Because I find anyway that we typically make things harder than they need to be, right? All right. So let's go back here and let's get over to the poll. If you have any questions about what I just did, then, put them in the comments. Okay, so the poll again was, how many demos, not samples, but demos, do you currently have? And it looks like we've got about 52 votes so far. Oh, good. More than half of you said none yet. So I'm really hoping that what I just showed you will help you to make some, because you will need them. If you're on platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, places like that, really anywhere, even if you're promoting yourself on social media and someone contacts you through Instagram, say, or TikTok or wherever, and they ask you for a demo because they'd like to share your work with their partner, with their spouse, with their team, you have one ready to go to send to them, right? So make demos sooner rather than later. And don't worry so much about, my demo's not as good as hers or his or whatever. None of that matters. What it is it's a direct representation of your current sound and production skill. You're being open, you're being transparent, and you're still hireable, right? Even if you don't sound like Morgan Freeman or Sigourney Weaver or whomever, don't compare yourself to others. Just make the demos and just know that you will just inherently get better at it, right? Your audio quality is going to get better. Your performances are going to get better. But most importantly, your demos are an accurate representation of what you can currently do. So you're not misleading clients with shiny, polished demos that you can't reproduce on your own, right? Okay. Tangent done. Okay, so back to the poll. Try to keep myself on focus here. Okay, so 16% of you said 1 to 3, which is good. 13% of you said 4 to 6 demos, and then 15% of you said 7 plus. I'm definitely in the 7 plus category. As your tenure in this industry increases, just the more demos you're going to have, right? The more demos you're going to make, and you're going to be constantly updating them, replacing them, making new ones. So, at this point, I couldn't even tell you how many demos I have, but I would say, depending on what you're doing as a voice actor, if you're only producing audiobooks, then you'd probably want to have a demo for each genre, and then a demo that has a little bit of everything in it, right? If you're a voice actor that does everything, then you want to have, a demo for each different subtype of voiceover, and then have a demo that's got a little bit of everything in it, right? And then you can even drill those down further to, like I said before, with the audiobooks, have a demo that's just a little bit of everything, and then a demo that is just romance, just children's book, so on and so forth. I feel like that was a really long tangent. Oh boy. Okay, let's get over to the comments. Let's start answering some questions here. And then I can show you even how to take some of these demos or samples or whatever you're creating and make social media posts out of them using Canva. I can show you that too if you guys are interested. Not as difficult as you would think it would be. But let's get over to the comments. I'm going to keep an eyeball on my delivery statuses. Okay, I think Dwight beat me in here again today. Dwight says, "Good morning, Red." Good morning, Dwight. Hope you're having a fantastically great VO day. Hello, my fellow redheads. Deadheads ain't got nothing on us. Let's get it and hit it while the mic is hot. Caesar says, hey, I remember when I answered this question with 0 last year. I now actually have more than 7, which I use in direct marketing. On a few of these demos, I write my own scripts. And you can do that, for those of you curious. If you're looking for copy, if you're looking for scripts to create or record demos, then, ChatGPT, it's there. Use it, right? Just give ChatGPT a prompt, tell it how many words you want it to be, or roughly, even time-wise, I think you could do, please provide me with a 30-second commercial script, for a fictional brand. You know what I mean? And then even then, you could modify the script and change it a little bit. Just use it as a starting point for scripts, right? So don't let anything hold you back. There's always a way to move forward. Caesar says, for the ones I've written, they usually start as fun little passion projects. Then I decided why not use them to make demos. So I did. Demos are great for landing work without submitting an audition. Or to get authors to listen to you and present you with an opportunity to audition for something. I've gotten those as well. It's the sexy words effect. Caesar says, that said, hello, Angela. Hello, everyone. Sucks that I missed last week's Wheel of Emotions. Still have much backlog to cover, but I'll be around for Group Echo's review. I will always be nervous. As always, be nervous. Don't be nervous, Caesar. You got nothing to worry about. He's talking about what we do in my Platinum group every Thursday night. Last week was Wheel of Emotions. It's always fun. But yes, we will be reviewing Group Echo's auditions this week. If you guys want to join in the fun, go to my website, voiceoverangela.com, and join the Platinum group. I meet every Thursday night. Paul says, hi all, and good day from Dunmow, UK. I currently have 11, although 3 of those are really one split, so you could call it 9. You could do that too, right? Don't make it hard. Don't make it complicated. Lisa says, I answered none yet, but I think I'm confused by what is a sample and what is a demo. I've done and uploaded a demo to ACX. More than likely with ACX, what you uploaded was a sample. And a sample is, although I take that back, you can actually upload demos to ACX if you wanted to. But keep in mind that most clients are only going to listen for about 3 seconds before they know whether or not you're the voice that they are looking for, because they're looking for a specific sound, right? More than likely the sound they heard in their head as they were writing the book. So for audiobooks specifically, I wouldn't even bother with uploading demos, like a compilation of samples. I would not do that. I would just give them samples. I would make them no more than 2 minutes long, and just a sample of, specific kinds of specific genres, specific sections where you have perhaps dialogue. If you're good with, male-female dialogue, you could have a section for just that, or just children's books, just to give the listener that's searching for something specific a good idea of what that would sound like in your voice, right? So I would stick with samples on ACX. And then you could take those samples and then create a compilation demo out of them for other platforms or for direct marketing, right? So you use that stuff to create different demos and samples, right? So you don't have to keep creating new stuff. Just use what you already have and make it work for you. Oh, by the way, I received my first ACX contract. Congratulations. You should be excited. Good morning, everyone, from a very, very cold Alberta, Canada. Today we have a balmy -33 Celsius, which is 27.4 Fahrenheit. No, negative 20. No. Hard pass. You have my respect, ma'am. Recording can be a challenge with the furnace kicking in all the time. At least it's sunny. Or you're like the kid in that Christmas Story movie. I can't put my arms down because you have all of the layers. Oh my gosh. Alex says, none yet. I have scripts picked and I'm working on setting up my Fiverr. Yep. And that could take some time. Just have patience with it. Just have patience with setting up Fiverr. It is tedious. Eric is here. Hello, hello. Just wanted to say good morning. Good morning to you, Eric. Alex says to Caesar, are you familiar with the PreSonus Revelator USB mic? It's my starter mic and what I've used for my reading time with Poppy vids. And I'm curious how fast I'll want to upgrade, in your opinion. I know Caesar's going to have probably a good answer for you. However, for you and everyone else listening, don't focus so much on the mic. Focus more on your space. Your space is much more important than your mic, right? And don't get caught up with mic or gear envy, right? I don't sound good because I don't have this mic, or I don't sound good because I have only a USB mic. USB mics have come a long way in just the last year or two. So if you have a fairly recent model, it's going to sound a lot better than they did when I first started, 7 years ago. So don't focus so much on the equipment. Focus more on your space and making sure that your recording space is covered, you don't have any echo, things like that. So don't let your mic, perhaps not being up to snuff, hold you back from moving forward, if that makes sense. Not you specifically, Alex, but anyone listening. Donnie G says, morning, everyone. Glad to be here for my first live stream. Well, welcome. Glad to have you. Alex says to Donnie, first live stream, and you're early. Better than me most times. By the way, if you're late, you bring donuts. Some sort of breakfast pastry, preferably donuts. Caesar says to Alex, my reputation must precede me. Yeah, I think it does. I am indeed familiar. Did you get the condenser or dynamic? It's excellent value for the cost and has excellent onboard processing for voiceover. Well, there you go. Donnie says, Lisa, I just moved to Vancouver from Edmonton 8 months ago. I don't miss the weather. Caesar says to Alex, for anyone starting out, this is great, and I suspect you won't want to upgrade until you start realizing what you want in terms of tone, range, and output level as you gain experience. Donnie says to Alex, thanks. I try to be punctual. David says, hello from Hamilton, Ontario. Hello, David. Alex says to Caesar, oh, it seeds you. Pre and pro. Glad for confirmation it was a decent purchase. I have the condenser, and it came with more tools than I know yet what to do with. I am learning, though. Good. Tess, hey Tess, says, good, beautiful day from Dracula. It's Dracula, not Dracula. Dracula. The vampires are getting torched here today. I have professionally made commercial narration and medical, plus self-made audiobook. Good. You're on it. Happy birthday, Polly says hello from Decatur. Lisa says to Donnie G, I lived in the lower mainland for about a year back in the day, and I don't miss the rain. I guess we both ended up where we are supposed to be. Rustic Hillbilly is here. Good morning. How is it in Oregon this morning? Yeah. Tess says, yep, Caesar. Pamela's here. Hey, Pam. How you doing? Did you get all your stuff together yet this morning or this week? Handyman, come over and get all your stuff done. Good morning, all. Sunny, light snow. Oh, thank you. Carlito says, still too new for demos. No, you're not. No, you're not. If you have all the recording stuff and your space is set up, demos is a good time. Now is a good time for demos. Just keep in mind that, demos are going to be revised. They're going to be updated. They're going to be refreshed every 6 months, every year, monthly, weekly, right? So get into the habit of creating demos sooner rather than later, because demos are going to be the way that most people hear you, right? So make them. Don't wait for this event or that milestone or whatever it is. Make demos. because the practice is helpful too, right? And learning how to use your DAW to cut and copy and paste and effects and all of the things. Don't wait. Make demos. Even if you throw them in the garbage when you're done, it's good practice. Make demos. My cup of tea says, good morning, y'all. Good morning to you. D. Hort says, fighting through discouragement, realizing I don't have time to be discouraged. Saw this message on a t-shirt. Nobody cares. Work harder. I kind of like that. I'm going to use that. Dwight says to Caesar, I bet you do. Happy birthday, Polly says, I got my first commercial demo by recording ads from magazines that aligned with my voice type. Never made a character reel because the same method doesn't really seem to work. Yeah, not with characters. With all of the AI technology and all the tools that we have at our fingertips so easily today, that we didn't have years ago, even just a few years ago, there should be really no reason why we're not inspired or, can utilize these tools to our benefit as voice actors. If you're looking for inspiration for perhaps maybe creating a character voice, what you could do is go onto Google and just type in, Viking images or cartoon Viking or whatever kind of character you're looking to build, and just use an image as inspiration. Pick an image that's close to the character that you have in your mind, and then go to ChatGPT. Tell it what kind of script you want for this. If you want character dialogue, just tell it I would like a script of 300 words for a Viking king cartoon character in a audiobook or in a children's, educational app, whatever it is. And then it will give you a script. And there you go. You have image inspiration, of image for reference. And you know what I mean? To create a character gig when you don't have already finished work. You have all of these tools at your fingertips. Use them. Use them to your advantage. Dylan's here. Hey, Dylan. I said 4 to 6, but most of those are old. I'm continuously refreshing and reposting my various demos. Good. And that's the way you should do it. Because again, we're just getting better as we progress. Right? Naturally, as we learn to do new things and make subtle adjustments, we just get better sounding as we go. So you should be refreshing your demos often. Eric says, hi all. I have 7 demos, but one of them I have with background sounds and the same without. So 8. All but 2 I created myself with coaching. 2 were made in a recording studio and others edited. I'm glad you brought up background sounds. I hear conflicting opinions on whether or not you should have music, sound effects, any kind of like soundscape or sound design within your demos. I think depending on the type of demo you're creating, perhaps character, perhaps commercial, maybe. But I think ultimately the client wants to hear your voice, and if they don't have an audio engineer on their end, they want to hear how clear, they want to hear your audio quality. They want to hear what they can expect from you so they can take what you give them and then directly use it for whatever application they're going to be using it for. And if you have music and background noise and sound effects and things, not background noise, but just like other stuff going on in the background, they're going to think one of 2 things. It's either going to be beneficial and they're going to go, oh, that's great. Maybe I can have them create my sound design, or maybe I can have them insert sound effects and all these things, and that could make you more money if you offer those services, right? But then just know that's going to be more time consuming. Or they're going to hear all that stuff, and if it's like a casting director, they might go, all of that added in may be covering up background noise or bad audio, right? So it could go one of 2 ways. I don't add in those things to my demos. I just keep it just voiceover because, essentially that's what they're hiring me for. Apart from meditation, because 95% of what I do in the meditation world includes music or nature sounds or stuff like that. So those demos will include music and nature sounds because that's typically the two go hand in hand. But for everything else, I wouldn't bother with background music or sound effects or anything at all. But if you want to give it a try just to see what it would sound like, then create a demo with it, but then also have a demo without it. That way you can choose which one you want to send the client. You have both options, if that makes sense, much like Eric said. My cup of tea says, I selected the wrong amount on the poll. Oops, now I got to make it a reality. There you go. See, it was your intuition guiding you. This is what I'm going to do. This is my goal. Caesar says, matching demo quality is no problem with me. Well, not everybody is you, Caesar. You are you. You're a different kind of bird. My analog hardware rack is my own. My DAW effects rack is my own. My mics are my own. My studio is my own. And now my wallet is empty. Please hire me. Anne Fritz is here. Good morning, Anne. Good to see you here. Good morning, all. I brought glazed old-fashioned donuts to the party. Insert stomach growl. I'm hungry. Mary says, good morning. Happy to see you this morning. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to you. Christine, afternoon to you. Tanya says, evening all. That explanation was really helpful. Good. Good, I'm glad. Happy birthday, Polly says, how often should I typically update my demo? My commercial reel is about, is about a year old, but my throat was hit by a car. Just your throat? Was hit by a car 2 months ago and sounds kind of different now. It could very well be that you're still healing. Similarly, I had, thyroid cancer. How long ago was that now? About 14 years ago. And after the surgery, after they removed it, it's definitely changed the sound of my voice. So, but it's not completely different. It's just subtly different. Like if you had heard me then versus now, you would say, oh, it's not that big a deal. But when it was healing, I sounded like a frog, right? It sounded deeper, more resonant. So after 2 months, it could still be that maybe you're still healing a bit. If you don't think that you still have healing time, I would just say, okay, this is my voice now. Let's market it and start creating demos now with your new sound. Don't tell yourself that it's some sort of a hindrance, right? Don't tell yourself that it's don't give yourself like a limiting belief. So if this is your voice now, make demos to represent that voice and get out there and get on it, So update your commercial reel. Do it. Accept it. Caesar says to happy birthday, Polly, just your throat. Was it a Prius? Yeah, that was all jokes aside, right? But ultimately, if this is your voice, embrace it. I'm glad you're still here with us. If your voice is different like Al Pacino after the second Godfather, you may want to update it. Happy birthday, Polly says, what prompts could I give ChatGPT to make scripts sound less like they were written by a robot? I think the prompts that I gave earlier are pretty much what I use. Just be specific in word count and the use and the what, like what kind of character you're trying to create a script for. Or if you just need something general, just remember to give it words that are particular to what you're looking for, I suppose, right? If that makes sense. Happy birthday, Polly says to Caesar, a Miata, but it was in a school zone, so close enough. A Miata, you can carry one of those with one arm and still drink a beer. So glad it wasn't like a Peterbilt or something. I imagine that would impact more than just your throat. Might end up sounding a little flat. Stop it. Happy birthday, Polly says, yeah, at that point, I'm in the running for pretty much Microsoft. Okay, we're moving on. Paul says, here's a breakdown on my current reels. These range from 1 minute 9 seconds to 3 minutes 17 seconds, which by my own rules is far too long. Must shorten that one. All the rest are under 2 minutes 30 seconds. And I think that's pretty much all you need. If we're talking about an audiobook demo, it should not be any longer than 3 minutes. because usually the audiobook samples that you are inserting into the demo are going to be a little bit longer generally, right? Because there's something within that sample that you're trying to highlight, some sort of tone, some sort of character dialogue, whatever it is. So audiobook demos are, I think, max 3 minutes. You know, that might even be pushing it. 2 minutes, I think, is fine, but 3 minutes max. All other demos, you could get away with 30-second demos, a minute demo, right? And then it'll also depend on if you're using these on specific platforms like Fiverr, for example. I think there's a time limit on how long it can be. I think it's 3 minutes, 30 seconds. So just keep in mind that you might need to have some variance in how long these are depending on the platform again, but honestly, I think 3 minutes is more than enough. 2 minutes, ideally. Joy says, hello, everyone from cloudy and freezing Southfield, Michigan. I just have one DIY made demo. Let's make some more, Joy. Jay Silver says, do you commercials as well? Yes, I do. Not a whole lot of them. I'm more of a long-form narrator. I do a lot of character work, audiobooks, e-learning, online courses, meditation. Commercial work is really the one thing that I don't do a whole lot of, and that's mostly by choice. I'm not a big fan of commercial work, but I know a lot of people who are, because they're generally shorter jobs that make a lot more money, but I don't know. They're not long enough for me to get connected to, I suppose. I've done them, but that's not my preference. Paul says, 1 narrative, 2 animation, 3 dramatic, 4 audiobook, 5 commercials, 6 characters, 7 medical and scientific, 8 literary classic, 9 through 11 character shorts. There you go. There's an example of what kind of demos. Mariah I can't even see. I don't have my glasses on. Mariah says, how do you describe your vocal range and different characters and voices you can perform? This was always a tough question for me to answer because I think mostly because I'm an introvert and I don't like talking about myself. What you can do here is ask somebody in a peer group or someone in your family to describe, perhaps. Or just be more like literal. You know, this is going back to the Viking character. You know, this is if you used a specific accent for the character, you could, include that into the demo. Here's me with a, Nordic accent, showing a range or offering you a range of everything from commercial work to, audiobook work. Depending on your native accent, you could say neutral American accent, stuff like that. Just keep it simple. If you want to throw some buzzwords in there to grab attention, that would be good too. Like I have used nurturing, buttery, sizzling, just words that sort of pop out at you. But I would, if you're having a hard time describing what you sound like, totally relatable. Ask someone in your peer group to help you with that. Jay says, get some samples first. Becca Sue says, good afternoon from Virginia. I finally worked with a sound engineer, and now I have a much longer to-do list. That usually happens, doesn't it? The room is most of the work. New equipment is second. Yes. Focus on your recording space more than your equipment. Lucius says, good morning. I just took off my main job today to start recording my first book. Congratulations. I just started VO 2 months ago. Well done. Welcome to the family. Polly says, one more question and I'll shut up. How, if at all, might one incorporate singing in their demos when writing their own script? I've been hired to sing in audiobooks, but can't use those clips. If you're writing your own script, then just write in a singing part. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of singing in anything, just to save people from having their ears bleed. So, but if you are, then write yourself something in there to sing. Or again, ask ChatGPT. I mean, don't don't snub your nose at it. It's very useful. And if it doesn't give you what you want at the first go, you can modify the prompt, in ChatGPT until you get what you want, right? I'm not really good with the singing stuff. You're very nervous about your first book. I know. It's intimidating and it's exciting and it's all the feels, right? But just get it done one bite at a time, just like any other elephant that we have to eat, right? One bite at a time. But just know that the confidence that you're going to gain when you get this done is everything. Everything else will be so much easier. And I find that after completing an audiobook production, everything else is cake, right? Because most everything else isn't going to be as long if it's a big audiobook. And most everything else doesn't have the same formatting requirements as an audiobook does. So if your very first production or recording of any kind is an audiobook, everything else is sort of cake, relatively. Donnie G says, if you get hired for a job, can you request the file from the finished product to use in a demo? Or should the demo just be your voice without the bells, whistles, music? I always ask clients for, one, permission to use the work I have delivered to them in either a piece of it or in its entirety for demo purposes, unless they tell me otherwise. And I also ask them for a copy of the finished product because I like to see what they look like, right? And to also share with future clients and perhaps even, market for my client, right? Depending on what it is. If it's like let's just say it's like a social media ad, perhaps with your voice on it, and you only did the voiceover but didn't see the storyboard, didn't see the post, didn't see any of the visuals at all. They send you the post with your voice on it and you go, oh, that's awesome. And then you can share that with clients and then also on your own social media to help, market for them. So I always ask if I can use the work I sent for demo purposes, unless they tell me otherwise, and then also a copy of the finished product. I always do that. Jay says, I've only ever worked one major TV commercial, but I'm really looking forward to making a visual reel once I get enough. Yeah, those are good too. Like a video reel with like pieces of video work that you get back from clients. You take little slices of those and make it into a video demo reel and then store it on YouTube, free video storage, and then it makes it easy to share the video later with clients, right? Also good things. Natalie says, good morning. I learned something new again. I didn't understand that there was a difference between a demo and a sample. Thanks. Would you recommend putting demo samples or both on a website? If it's your website, I would stick, you could probably do either. It's really your prerogative, right? Whatever you want to do. The ultimate goal of putting samples on any platform of your voice is to give the listener an idea of what you sound like. Don't focus so much on how many samples you have or how many demos you have. Just get something on there. If we're talking about ACX, when an author is looking for something specific, right? Give them samples of you doing specific things, a specific tone, specific accent, right? Male, female dialogue. If you were talking about, let's just say Fiverr, for example, because a lot of people use that, whatever the gig is for, if you're uploading, if you're looking for audio to upload onto a IVR or a phone greeting gig, you want to have phone greeting demos or samples. I think samples are better for that too. Just little snippets of, here's what it would sound like, really. If we're talking about voiceover specific platforms like pay-to-plays, like, Voice 123 or something like that, you would have demos. Because I find that clients on those platforms are looking sort of more of a tone range or a age range or, male, female, usually not something super specific. So I think a demo would be better for those. But just, there really isn't a right or a wrong way. You'll just sort of learn what works better as you go, right? Don't focus so much on, I want to do this the right way. Just get something up there with what you sound like on those platforms so people can hear you and hire you, right? Don't focus so much on whether it's a sample or a demo. Just get it done. Dwight says, to Angela's point about using the tools available, I would suggest that you take your inspirations from everywhere when developing voices. TV, radio, the local curmudgeon, the mayor, etc. Use them. Favorite TV show characters, movie characters, use them as inspiration too. It'll make it easier if you think about, okay, this character, you're in the middle of an audiobook production and you're like, this character reminds me of Spock, Then you bring up Spock in your mind and then you can sort of become Spock, right? Or Samuel Tarly from the Game of Thrones or whatever character it is that you're familiar with, then you can usually move like them, talk like them, right? If you're a fan, and then it makes it a little bit easier to summon that voice and that personality. If that makes sense. Voiceover Van Deen says, afternoon all. You enjoying some tea and some biscuits? Diane says, my little studio is coming together. Rock wool going in today, but it's going to be toasty in there. Any recommendations for venting silent fans? I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people giving you ideas about this, but you want to make sure that you have a way to vent your room, ventilate, at least crack a window, open a door from time to time. I don't have any in here. I just have to open my door, but that brings all the sound in. But I do open it, when I'm not recording, just so I don't asphyxiate myself. But I can tell you there's a ton of videos on YouTube on just this topic. So ask this question in your peer groups, people building their own DIY booths. I think there's even a DIY booth building group on Facebook. I mean, there's probably going to be a lot of different options to DIY something for your booth. But more often than not, you might have to turn off anything that you have running when you're recording because it might create a noise floor for you. And then just turn it back on when you're done recording, right? Dwight says, my mic is Caesar's, my DAW is Caesar's, my audio interface is Caesar's. He's holding hostage. Please hire me or him in my name. Dwight says to Polly, I just gave prompts relating to a TV car commercial and it would not do it for copyright issues, but it gave me the details for the most popular car and then I used YouTube. Joy says, thank you for the idea on how I can create my character demo. Mrs. Sherlock Holmes comes to life. And Dwight says, and then copied the script from there. Oh, from YouTube? Lucius says, got to go start recording. Get to it. Thank you for all the helpful videos. Can't wait to jump back on another live. Wish me luck. Good luck to you. You'll be just fine. Enjoy. Have fun. Don't forget to play. Adekoya says, hello, Angela. It's been a while. I joined your live sessions. Wanted to ask, do you just do audiobooks for people or do you publish audiobooks for yourself? I don't write my own books, if that's what you're asking. I mostly produce them for other people. Yeah, I don't write my own books. So, that would be the only way that I would create an audiobook for myself is if I wrote the book, because any other way of creating an audiobook without the author's explicit permission would be a copyright infringement. So that would be the only way that you could create audiobooks for yourself is if you wrote them. For me, I have 15 demos. I work on myself a lot. I also get clients a lot as well. Guess having more demos does it. It absolutely does. More demos, the better. Jim says, distinguish demos from samples. I think we did that a couple times. Chat with Lorna says, hi from sunny, frosty Oregon. When starting, I did a few learning samples and books from LibriVox. Oh yeah, LibriVox helped me out quite a bit, for sure. Caesar says, funny, as a sound engineer, I also gave one of my clients a heck of a to-do list. He went all in with mass-loaded vinyl insulation and thick acoustic panels. His recording space now sounds divine, I bet. Focus on your space, not your equipment. Dwight says to Polly, why can't you use samples of your singing from the audiobook? If it is from ACX, you can take a portion of it and use it as a sample, from what I understand. ACX rules allow it. That's very true. Unless the author has specifically told him to not, for whatever reason, that would be the only thing that would keep him back. But if it's already on a public site, right, like Audible, I don't know. Jim says demos are, samples are, auditions are. I'm not sure what you mean. If you want me to differentiate the two again, samples are snippets of a specific, of like one job. Demos is a compilation of many samples. Simply put, auditions are you sending an audition to a client in hopes that you are the right voice for that job, if that's what you're asking. Caesar says, a good idea would have one nice demo above the fold, a playlist of your best samples underneath. And if you have anything left over, put them on a more samples subpage. Dwight says to Diane, I bought a Cloud Pro inline fan system with a muffler. It is very quiet. Look it up for sure. FYI, it was developed for grow rooms and hot houses. Very affordable. Kristen says, hello from cloudy Los Angeles. It's cloudy here, too, in Phoenix. So glad I could catch a little bit of this live chat. I'm so glad you're here. Caesar says to Diane, you'll need someone handy with hardware, but there are excellent sub-3 dB vent fans out there. A baffle box would also be very useful for keeping things quiet. Lots of examples online. Jim says, I am just now getting into the room. Dwight says to Adekoya, I actually do produce other people's book, but only because they gave me the exclusive copyrights to do it. Okay. Caesar says to Jim, you can always watch the replay or rewind back to the beginning after the live session is over. Oh yeah, if you're joining at the end, I didn't realize that you weren't here. I can't tell who's here. Right? Who at what point you come in. I can only tell you're here when you comment. So I thought maybe you were here the whole time, but yeah, I had explained that a few times. But Team Replay, please consider liking and subscribing. I appreciate it. Jim says overcast, 53 degrees here in Memphis. It's actually been warmer here in the desert, but definitely overcast today. Perhaps we'll get some rain. But essentially, that's what I wanted to cover with you guys today. Again, if there's something specific that you guys want to talk about in future live chats, anything I can break down, show you, whatever it is, there are no stupid questions. Don't ever think that your question is stupid. There could be 100 other people with the same question that are too afraid to ask. So if you have something that you think would be a good topic for a weekly live chat, then please put it in the comments below. I really appreciate the time that you guys take to spend with me and everyone else offering your own opinions and insight. It's valuable. So, but I will be back here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And I will see you all then. Platinum Group, I will see you guys on Thursday. Bye.